Why were they walking side by side but avoiding eye contact completely? Why did Jungkook look so tense while Taehyung kept his distance? And what really happened that made fans freeze in disbelief after watching this short video clip? ARMYs, this is not a drill. A leaked airport video has shaken the fandom worldwide. Two figures, one heavily disguised and the other wearing a face mask, were spotted walking side by side through a busy airport terminal. But it wasn't just anyone. It was them, Jungkook and Taehyung, together for the first time in what felt like forever. But instead of joy, reunion, or even a simple smile, fans were met with cold silence. What does it all mean? Before you scroll away, pause and join the thousands of fans trying to decode every second of the footage. Comment your theory below, because this might be the biggest turning point in their relationship yet. In the clip, the two men are seen walking through Incheon International Airport. Jungkook is almost unrecognizable at first, wearing a black hoodie pulled low, sunglasses, and a cap. Taehyung, meanwhile, dons a beige trench coat and a black face mask. Their outfits scream, "Don't recognize me," but fans noticed them instantly. Why? Because of the way they moved, synchronized yet emotionally detached. Jungkook walks slightly ahead, occasionally glancing back, his shoulders visibly stiff. Taehyung follows silently, eyes downcast, no words, no eye contact, no warmth. And that's what truly shook fans. One fan wrote, "You can feel the tension. They used to laugh, bump shoulders, joke around. Now it's like they're strangers." Another posted a side-by-side comparison, a cheerful taekook airport moment from 2019 next to this new video. The difference was chilling. The last time Jungkook and Taehyung were publicly seen together was months ago during a behind-the-scenes shoot. Even then, fans noticed a kind of distance, less interaction, fewer shared labs, more space between them. There's been endless speculation online. Some say it started after an emotional live by Jungkook, who indirectly referenced a close friend who he no longer speaks to like before. Others believe it has something to do with Jimin, whose name appears often in Taehyung's recent updates and was even mentioned in the subtitles of this viral video clip. Yes, that's right. The video includes auto-generated captions, likely picked up by speech recognition, and at the 6-second mark, the name Jimin is seen briefly just before Taehyung looks away from Jungkook. What was said? Was Jungkook reacting to something Taehyung said about Jimin? Was this an accidental leak or a subtle message? Thousands of ARMYs have turned into detectives overnight. Here are just a few of the most viral theories. Silent pact broken. Some fans think they were instructed by management not to interact publicly, and this unintentional encounter broke that pact. Private apology, public tension. Another theory suggests Jungkook may have apologized privately for a personal issue, but Taehyung hasn't fully accepted it. Jimin is the link. Perhaps the most viral theory is that Jimin has become a sensitive topic between the two, and his increasing closeness with Taehyung may have sparked an emotional divide. None of these theories are confirmed, but the emotional response is real. ARMY Worldwide isn't holding back. One user wrote, "I didn't cry because they looked sad. I cried because I realized how much I missed them being happy together." Another commented, "You could cut the tension with a knife. If this is how they act in public, I can't imagine the silence off camera." But not everyone believes this is a bad sign. A more hopeful fan said, "Maybe this is step one. Maybe this was just awkward because it's been so long. Maybe there's still hope." Hope, a powerful word. Because despite all the theories, the longing is stronger. Fans want to believe this wasn't the end, but maybe the beginning of healing. As of now, HYBE has made no official statement, but insiders say that both Jungkook and Taehyung are scheduled to travel overseas for different solo projects. Was this airport moment an accidental overlap, or something coordinated behind the scenes? Was this a crack in the wall, or the wall rebuilding? That's what everyone's asking. Will either of them go live to explain? Will Jimin speak up? Or will this moment remain a mystery forever, leaving fans to fill in the blanks with imagination and emotion? What's clear is this: the silence between Jungkook and Taehyung is louder than any words they could say. And for ARMYs watching closely, every glance, every breath, every hesitation means everything. What do you think happened? Was this a tense reunion or a silent cry for peace? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and share this video if your heart stopped while watching that short clip. Because sometimes the most powerful stories are told in silence. The silence between them lingered long after the video ended. It wasn't just a 15-second clip. It was a moment frozen in time that captured more than movement. It captured distance, emotional distance, and the kind that can't be hidden by sunglasses or buried beneath the hoodie. In the hours that followed the video's spread, fans began digging into every frame. Slowed down replays revealed even more layers. Jungkook's hand twitching as if he wanted to reach out but hesitated, and Taehyung's subtle glance toward him, brief but weighted, almost like he was hoping to be noticed or afraid that he would be. The way they passed the gate in a group of photographers without flinching suggested they knew they were being watched, yet still chose to keep the act going. Two shadows of a bond that once glowed so publicly. Speculation spiraled. Some remembered that months ago, during a live stream, Jungkook abruptly ended his V-Live when a comment mentioning Taehyung appeared. Others pointed out how Taehyung hadn't liked any of Jungkook's recent solo updates, something that once would have been normal, but now seemed glaringly loud. And then there was Jimin, always close to both. Recently, visibly closer to Taehyung. It was his name, softly picked up by the video's captions, that made everything feel heavier. Was it jealousy? A misunderstanding? A broken promise between three friends navigating separate roads under one spotlight? Fans who had followed Taekook's journey since debut couldn't help but recall the golden days, when they used to playfully tease each other on stage, when Taehyung would cling to Jungkook during interviews, when Jungkook once called Taehyung his most precious Hanyoung during a live broadcast. Those moments felt like lifetimes ago now. What changed? And more importantly, why did they let it change? Some fans suggested the industry wore them down. Years of expectations, headlines, shippers, rumors. Maybe they stopped being themselves and started playing roles for the camera. Others argued it was something deeper, more personal, something that wasn't meant for anyone to see. A fracture behind closed doors that finally cracked wide open in the most public of places, a busy airport terminal. But if there was tension, why show up together? Why arrive at the same time? Why walk side by side if they had no intention of speaking? The mystery only grew more intricate the longer the silence stretched. And no one from their circle, no staff, no insiders, not even the usually vocal media outlets, offered any clarity. HYB's silence only added more fuel to the emotional fire. Fans begged for a statement, but the company offered nothing. Not even a denial, just radio silence. Some believed it was strategic. Others thought it was a way to let the storm pass. But for ARMYs, silence wasn't peace. It was noise, deafening noise that echoed through every fan forum and comment section. Still, not everyone saw sadness. A smaller group of fans clung to hope. They believed that this moment, though tense, was a sign of something beginning, maybe the start of healing. Maybe it wasn't awkwardness, it was caution. The kind that comes when two people tried to rebuild something fragile. Maybe they walked in silence because words wouldn't be enough. Maybe the act of walking beside each other was already louder than anything they could have said. The truth is, no one knows. Not yet. What's certain is this: Even after years in the spotlight, Jungkook and Taehyung still have the power to move millions without a single word. They still carry with them the weight of a friendship so beloved, so watched, that every appearance or lack thereof becomes a headline. And in that brief airport moment, they reminded the world that relationships, even between idols, are complex, painful, real. Whether this was a goodbye, a new beginning, or just an uncomfortable coincidence remains to be seen. But the fandom is watching, waiting, hoping. Because behind the makeup, beyond the lights, and underneath the masks, there are still two boys who once promised they'd walk together through anything. The question is, are they still walking in the same direction? Only time will tell. And until then, the silence between them speaks louder than ever. And yet, even as the hours passed and the video kept circling like wildfire, neither Jungkook nor Taehyung made a single public move. No update on Weavers, no cryptic Instagram story, not even a subtle repost. It was as though both had decided that silence was safer than explanation. Or perhaps they both knew whatever they said now would only be consumed, dissected, twisted. Maybe they were exhausted from always having to explain themselves. Maybe this time they simply chose to let the world guess. But fans didn't stop guessing. Someone zoomed into the reflection on the glass panels of the airport gates, convinced that the shadowy figure standing a few feet behind them was Jimin. Another slowed the video to 0.25x speed and swore that Taekook mouthed something, 2 words, maybe 3. Something that looked like "you're late" or "don't talk." No one could agree, but they all watched. Again and again. In private chat rooms and public comment sections, the emotional chaos grew. Old clips of Taekook laughing backstage, dancing together on tour, comforting each other during award speeches resurfaced, spliced with screenshots from the new video like a tragic then and now documentary. A fan-edited compilation titled "From Brothers to Strangers" gathered over 2 million views in under a day, its piano-heavy background music only fueling the heartbreak. And in the middle of it all was a haunting question: what if this was their quiet farewell? It felt unthinkable. These two had once been inseparable, the kind of bond that radiated authenticity in a world filled with rehearsed affection. Taekook's protective glances during press cons, Jungkook's silent nods during tense interviews, it all used to mean something. So how did it come to this? Rumors of a fallout had lingered for months. A sudden stop to their joint appearances, live sessions cut short, a noticeable drop in photos together. Some believed it was personal, others were sure it was orchestrated. Maybe a decision made by management to avoid fan wars, or a media strategy to shift focus toward their solo careers. But now, after that airport video, those theories were no longer just speculation. The proof was in the air between them. Thick, unspoken, impossible to ignore. Still, not every fan was ready to let go. Some chose to believe that this was the silence before something meaningful. That maybe, after everything, the fame, the distance, the inevitable changes, they were slowly finding their way back to something real. Maybe walking side by side, even without words, was their way of saying, "We're still here." Maybe they just didn't know how to start again. One fan posted, "When you've been hurt by someone you love, the hardest thing isn't forgiving them, it's knowing what to say when you finally see them again." Maybe this was that moment. Not dramatic, not explosive, just heavy with all the things unsaid. There was something fragile about the way they carried themselves that day, like they both wanted to pretend it was normal, but couldn't fake it. Taekook's shoulders didn't relax. Jungkook's jaw stayed clenched. And in that brief overlap of steps, there was an undeniable echo of everything they used to be and everything they might still be holding back. And while the world continues to spin theories, while new photos and clips flood the timeline, nothing will compare to the weight of that video. The look that wasn't exchanged, the words that weren't spoken, and the closeness that wasn't felt. It's the kind of silence that echoes louder than screams. Because sometimes the most heartbreaking distance is not in miles, but in memories. And when two souls who once moved in sync now walk side by side like strangers, the question that lingers isn't just what happened, but can they ever find their way back? No one knows, but the whole world is watching and listening to the silence.